I thought I'd take a moment today and share with you the process that my sister and I went through to create the Christmas cards that we sent out for our mom. And here is one card we both really liked. And so I'll show you most of what we did to make it happen. So the first thing that you do is you make your background. And I did a few in advance. These are done on kind of a mid-weight, wonderful rice paper. And they have tones of copper, gold, silver, and this one's really pretty. It's super gold. This one is really super gold. But it's hard with gel printing because you cannot replicate easily anyway the exact thing. So I'll pull a couple of backgrounds and then we'll work through what you do to make the actual print. So my favorite paint is golden, and I just like how it behaves. And you don't need very much. That's just their standard bright iridescent gold. I'll put a little bit of this iron oxide gray, silver, dark silver, maybe a little bit of bronze. And bronze has some green tones in it. I really love the richness of it. And if I want a little bit more silver, then I have some lighter, so maybe I do. I'll show you I have a trick if I overdo it. I bought this particular paint by mistake. It's a high flow acrylic that's used for pouring. And it's a little bit trickier to use on the gel print just because it's so thin. Anyway, brayer, pouncing action, get that on there. I had some iridescent gold left over from a previous print, and it just will add to the print that we're going to do this time. Typically it'll pull it up. Not uncommon for me to do 2 at a time. And so take the rice paper. It has a smooth side and a rough side. Lay it down. And like I have said before, this is such a tactile process. It is fun to do. It's creative. I feel really connected to what my sister and I were doing for our mom. And so then you pull it. You can see some of the paper through this one. It had less paint. Let's see how this one comes up. Real similar to the others. So if you look at it, you can see that there's a little bit of the paper that's showing through. And I think what I'm going to do is put a little bit of interference gold. This is such fun. This particular gold is just so much fun. And maybe I can get a really nice sheen on the top. So I will do that. And I won't do anything for this for now. And let's see what we get. Not much, but it's a really nice sheen. So if I put these side by side, you can see what we have. I'll work with this one. And I'll show you the 2 stencils. One's a stencil and one is a mask. This is a mask. And so what happens with a mask is that you have to think of it in terms of protecting the color that is beneath it. This is a stencil. And you'll see the result with a mask because I don't have another color handy. So I am going to use let's try this Prussian blue. And see if that will give us a good horsey. And I don't mind if a little bit of the gold paint from the brayer shows up, it makes it a little bit more interesting. And you lay your paint and as carefully as you can, place your mask or your stencil down, and then we place our background on the gel plate, and we see what we get. There's some fine lines in this stencil. I have an extra, no, this is the stencil. I have an extra one and I can show you it has paint on it. And you'll see that there's intricate cuts there. And so you have to make sure that you burnish it well when it's on your plate, and to make sure that those areas get as much paint distributed as you can. I sometimes cheat, peel it up a little bit to see how it's coming. And this is looking really good. Maybe a little rub right there. Let's pull from this side. After I've worked with this, I've come to know the parts of it that are a little bit more challenging. I think that's beautiful. That's stunning. I'll work with that. And the thing that's so fun about doing these is you just never know exactly what you will get when you pull your print. So another thing that you can do, which I don't know I will do in this video, otherwise it could be several hours, you can pull the mask or stencil and you're left with what they call a ghost print. I think this will be a beautiful ghost print. We're gonna let this paint dry. As you can see, it's a little bit wet right there. I'll work off of the left plate and show you how it works with a stencil. We'll do the same color. I love that Prussian blue. There's other shades of blue. Maybe I'll put some, sorry, I should have this organized. Anyway, I'll do another blue in here too. I can tell from experience this might be more paint. Yeah, when the brayer slides, you know you have too much paint. So I will get that off of there. Again, if you're interested in doing this, hey, come on over to my house. It would be fun. It's a pouncing motion, light pressure. Okay, try to get that line off of the center there. And now I'll place a stencil. This doesn't have that frame around it, so I lined it up against the bottom of the plate. And I will grab one of the backgrounds that I showed you from before. And there's a way that you can do this with registration marks, but I'm lazy. I just did it this way. And you have the innies you're going to do this time. And I don't want that stencil to slide, so I'm holding it down. And again, you burnish it well where you know those fine lines are. And let's see what we get here. Oh. More and more. And if you have challenges with the paint coming up, it's because maybe you haven't used quite enough paint. I've also noticed that the metallics behave a little bit differently, and the paint sometimes, metallics aside, if the paint dries quickly, and it does in my climate, not as pleased with that, but it gives you an idea. It's kind of primitive looking. The nature of the plate that we used from my mom, it was carved in that style. So I don't know if I'll use this one or not, but that just shows you the difference between a mask and a stencil. And you pull it up. Sometimes I pull ghost prints off of these, but we'll pull one off of the one on the right. Let's see what we get. Okay, I'm going to use copper with a little bit of bronze. And cross our fingers that we get a very interesting ghost print off of this. Let's just see. And again, it's a light pouncing motion. And the brayer sheets I'm using are just copy paper. And you definitely always store your brayer so the roller is up. Take a piece of this fabulous rice paper. There's different weights of rice paper. It's frequently used in calligraphy, but it's perfect for this. There's some people who leave the take-up paper on for a really long time, but let's just see what we get. Yeah. Like I said, the metallics are trickier sometimes. Sometimes you have to use more paint than you think, and sometimes you have to leave it on longer. But the ghost print can be very interesting. Not enough detail for me. I can show you one that came out well. This is an example of a ghost print that I think turned out pretty well. You never get the same definition because you're working with paint that's left over on the plate. So what is left upon completion is you have a design. And so I have a way that I cut so it's just under 5 by 7, and I cut a matte. It varies. Sometimes we've used a burgundy color that looks really nice. I don't know what I'll do with this one yet, but this will be a card, and then they're finished. And I just think that they have been gifted with great joy, and it's been a lot of fun to do this. And I'm going to keep doing a few so I can build up my collection again. So thank you. It's been fun to demonstrate this for you.